Luke. What do you get when CDLs are sold like candy? Robots take your route, and the regulators act like they're listening, but actually aren't. What you get is you get a broken system. And the question every trucker has to ask, are we fighting back? Or are we just giving in? Well, as soon as we can get this working right. Of course, gremlins always follow me from backstage. Greetings, truck lovers and truth seekers, and everyone out there in the United States of trucking. Premier listener and communicator in charge of the biggest movement of 2025. Executing assigned host duties with precision of a critical thinker. Serving trucking and its future simply by showing up. I'm Boss Man from the Institute of the Art of Critical Thinkers, collaborative think tank for advanced trucking journalism. This show will take stories, differing opinions, and arrive at one outcome. There is no other show like this one. And together, we can make trucking great again. So what do you get when CDLs are sold like candy, robots take your routes, and regulators act like they're listening? You get confusion. You get corruption, and most of all, you get a moment of decision. Frontlines isn't just another talk show. This is a full throttle show delivering truth from the front seat right to you guys out in the field. Coming straight from the heart of the United States of trucking. Today we're covering a CDL bribery scandal that proves the licensing system got a for sale sign in the window. A government comment period that asks your opinion only to see many of you remain silent. A war on English proficiency that ignores the real problems, like foreign labor loopholes. And a Texas-sized pushback against autonomous trucks. Good story coming up. I want you to stick around. And it's got Teamsters written all over it. We've got a special guest coming up later in the show, so I urge you to stick around, see what he's got to say. He's known for his opinions and laying it down just the way it should be. He's a really good big figure in trucking, so I urge you to stick around. So let's get into these stories, and let's take your calls. 860-785-3547 if you'd like to be on the show. So let's get to this week in Frontlines, shall we? Have any of you wondered why it is we seemingly have hundreds and thousands of untrained Nimrods in these trucks nowadays? Well, if you have, so have I. Well, I think I've found the source of one of these problems. According to, let me get the right graphic up here. Boom. There we go. The Oregon Live, in a May 2025 Watchdog report, a Washington trucking school operating out of Chalets and Olympia has been suspended by the Oregon Department of Transportation after being tied to a shocking bribery scheme that involved Washington state licensing officials. No surprise there. This wasn't just a clerical error or misplaced file. No, this was a full-blown fraud test where unqualified individuals paid bribes to the Department of Licensing insiders in the state of Washington to skip the line and grab a CDL without ever proving they could handle a rig. Some didn't even have to take tests. Others failed it. Flamed out bad, but still walked out with a license in hand. How? Because as reported, certain contract testers, say that 5 times fast, certain contracted testers, especially ones flagged in Arlington recently, were playing dirty and passing folks who didn't even have the skill, the training, or the safety mindset to even turn the key. Folks, it's like handing out a pilot's license to folks who don't even know which way is up. Can you imagine that? So let me ask you, how many of these fraudulently licensed drivers are out there right now? Think about that. Rolling 80,000 pounds of steel around without an absolute clue what they're doing. Oregon's DOT response, well, it's swift so far. They've dropped the hammer, suspending the Washington Trucking School's operation while investigators continue. But the fact is that we needed an investigative watchdog article to raise the flag. What? Really? That's the thing that sticks in my craw, guys. Here's the ultimate question. I want to hear from you in the audience. Comment, call us on the studio line, 860-785-3547. What should happen to the drivers who've gotten their CDLs through this bribery scandal? Should they be retested, revoked, or removed from the road altogether? Let's see what you guys think. Let's visit the comments, talk to the panelists. I'd like to know what you think. Good day, Thumper. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Bribery scandal and people getting licenses without proving things. What do you think should happen? All right, he's not ready, so we'll move on. Good evening, Don. How are you doing, buddy?
Another day.
Yeah, what do you think should go on? You think these guys should be?
I think they should be revoked, done, never to be able to get a CDL again.
Yeah. I mean, what surprises me is that we don't have some sort of a database to track these kind of things. You know, I mean, and I'm going to get more into my thoughts in a database as we go through the show, because I've got some interesting thoughts about that. But I mean, honestly, you know, the rules are clear. You need 100, well, in most states, 150 hours or more of ELDT training. And yet people are finding ways around it. I mean, it really blows my mind. It really does.
Well, I mean, it's the almighty dollar. That's just it.
Yeah, well, you'd think it would stop and start. I mean, think about it. It costs today almost $8,000 to go through a complete ELDT course, you know, to start to finish. 75 classrooms, 75, hours. That's expensive. You know, and I'm using estimated figures, mind you, because, I took it wasn't ELDT back then, but it was a, standard training curriculum in the state of New York, 150 hours, and it cost me over $5,000 then. I mean, here it is 2025. That's probably equal to about $8,000, maybe even $10,000 today. Don't know.
Well, I'm not gonna tell you it only cost me $1,000.
Well, I could be jealous, but then I've got to remember how long you've been in the industry. So you've been here a little longer than I have. But no, on a slightly separate thought, I've been wondering why it is this industry has been so proliferated with just seemingly untrained and unqualified people. I mean, this is just one state. Can you imagine if this kind of stuff were uncovered in every other state? And I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be. Put in the comments, guys, if you think I'm onto something here. If you think this is but the tip of the iceberg, yeah, let us know. If you're watching us on the replay, by the way, go down below, hit the like button, become a subscriber. Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is just a tip of something bigger? If the state of Oregon is capable of it, what about some really, really corrupt states? Left-leaning states like New York, New Jersey, some other states like maybe Illinois. Should we be investigating schools there? Let me know in the comments, because I'll tell you what, this would seem to answer an awfully large question. Why we have so many people on the roads today that have absolutely no idea what they're doing. So, Thumper, if you're with us, you got any thoughts to opine on this?
I'm here.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I can kind of
So
tell you weren't ready, but I didn't want to give you the benefit of not having
yeah,
something said about it.
no, I guess yeah, you guys kind of summed everything up. So
Mhm.
um,
So I mean, what? Just cursory thinking. What do you think about the idea of people being able to buy something that they don't actually qualify to get? What does that do to you in the back of your mind? I mean, that is clearly probably a stark reason why we have so many accidents.
yeah, I mean you're not qualified to buy anything, but that's just kind of the way the
Yeah.
country has kind of come to. I mean, that's the new thing is everybody being in debt.
Well, here's my move on question. By that I mean I'm going to move on to the second story. But my
Yep.
move on question is this to you, both of you. And you can answer it in stereo or individually. I don't care. What do you think should happen to the people responsible? I've talked about the drivers. Now, what about the school?
Jail
What about the
time.
administrators? What do you think should happen to them?
Jail time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Jail time and a fine, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, as the story indicated, this isn't just the people at the school. This is the investigators. They're the inspectors. That's what blows my mind. It's the inspectors, the people that actually, put the stamp on the license and actually say you can do it.
Well, that's
Well,
just
they
it.
need to.
They don't sit down and actually work with a person. They're trying to pump people out as fast as they can. It's all they care about is, how what is it? $7,500 plus to go to one of these schools to get your CDL or something like that.
Well, yeah, I was
And
just talking. It could be anywhere from 8 to 10 grand. I mean, but
yeah,
that's only part of the thing. I mean, we're talking about the inspectors, the people that work for the state. They're obviously on the take now, and they're getting bribed somehow. Those are the individuals that need to actually suffer the
oh,
consequences.
yeah.
You know,
They're
and
probably
Exactly.
getting kickbacks from the schools.
or the people testing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's exactly what it is.
It wouldn't. It actually wouldn't surprise me if we dived into this at some point and found that it related to a mega carrier. Nothing would surprise me these days. Nothing in
No,
the least.
no, it's just their way of trying to control us and eliminate the small guy is what it is.
It's true. It's very true.
That's literally that's what it is nowadays with everything. It's just how can we eliminate the small guy to make my company bigger?
Yep.
That's literally all it is, and
Yep.
that's where a lot of these rules and regulations come from is stupid stuff like that.
Yep. I'll say good evening, poet. Glad you could join us. Glad you're with us. Stick around because you'll be interested in one of the stories I got coming up tonight. Um, Millie, good evening. Glad you could make it. It's a long time no see. Glad you could join us. Anybody else joining us, be sure and go down below. Hit the like button. Become a subscriber if you haven't already. This is Truckin' Frontlines, and we mean business. Speaking of business, guys, we're now entering a part of this show I like to call the illusion of input. That's right, where government agencies pretend to care about what you think and then go right along doing whatever career cronies tell them they need to do. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about here. As soon as I get everything cooperating with me, boom, there we go. And one more thing, real quick. Boom, there we go. Recently, the U.S. Department of Transportation opened what they called a public comment period. It was a golden opportunity that they claimed truckers, owners, and industry leaders had to sound off on red tape, nonsense rules, and outdated regulations choking the industry. Things like AB5, speed limiters, things like that. And you know what? Some of you showed up. Some of you wrote. Some of you put comments down. Some of you actually got involved. You brought your knowledge, you brought your blood earned experience, and your honest perspective to the table. To those, thank you. you actually helped make a difference, because this was supposed to be part of President Trump's effort to reduce regulatory burden, especially for everybody out here like you and me. But honestly, what did happen? Did they listen? I mean, all of you guys. Did the walls shake in Washington? Or did the bureaucrats just get a little bit here, a little bit there, sip their lattes, and hit the delete button once they were gone? Well, let's see what one industry leader thinks about this very thing. We have somebody opining on this very problem. You need to know how many people actually commented and what actually happened from it. Listen up.
Of Landline Magazine. So we've talked a few times on the show in recent weeks about this comment period opened up by the USDOT regarding regulations, more specifically, their big push to cut regulations. That comment period ended yesterday, and the response, I have to say, Mark, wasn't quite as robust as I expected it might be.
When you consider, I've been working at Landline for about 10 years now, and almost every time I've talked to truck drivers, they will complain about the number of regulations that are on the books. I would have thought that we would have had thousands and thousands of comments from truck drivers. And a lot of times, a lot of the comment periods that are out there might just have a few dozen comments. So I'm not trying to act like 900 isn't a significant number. Sure. It certainly is. But yeah, based off of that, I would have thought that more truck drivers would have spoken up.
Wouldn't that have been nice if more had spoken up? I mean, do you think they even read the comments? Do you think they really even care? Well, when only 900 show up, gotta wonder, really. Well, I mean, I would sit here and ask a bunch of legal questions about whether we should hold them accountable to what we actually left, but only 900 showing up. It kind of goes back to a conversation I had with one of these guys last week, where the discussion was, and the question was, whose fault is it that things have gotten the way they've gotten? Now, Don, I ask you, where did we go with that conversation last week? Do you remember?
we were definitely all over the place.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we shared, between the two of us, we kind of shared, and it's our philosophy thinking about it when you really get down to it. But here we have an obvious opportunity given us. There was a 45-day comment period given us by the Trump administration. Okay? There's 3.5 million people, so far as I know, and only 900 of you comment? Come on, man.
There's a problem with that.
I think there's a huge problem with that.
Number one.
Go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
How much did they advertise the fact that they were going to do the open comments? How many of these companies had no idea that it was even happening? They don't make it well known.
I'll get to you in a minute, Thumper. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. They do not make it well known, and that is a definite problem. Thumper, I see you diving in and trying to wave your hand. What say you on this matter?
Well, Don's right. Today is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So they don't advertise it. So if they want to sit there and complain, well, only 900 people do this. Well, you know what? Maybe you should start pushing a lot more, because, like I said, this is the first time I've ever heard of it. I would have voiced my opinion.
True, I would have, and I know it would have been a very, I think, well thought out and critically thought opinion, because you know me, Mr. Critical Thinker. What should be done to hold them accountable? Should we make them do this more often? Should we go back? Come on. We as an industry, this is a two-sided question. So don't misunderstand where I'm going with this, okay? We as an industry owe it to ourselves to do everything we can to not only make it good for our current environment, but for the environment we're leaving behind for our kids. Now, how in the hell are we able to do that when we're given no notice, no advertising, no real means by which to get this done? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm talking about it as if y'all should have known about it. No, I didn't hear about it. Don, Thumper, and I don't know if anybody you in the audience put it in the comments. Did you know? Doubt it, but I'd be shocked to know if any of you did. Once again, give us a call, 860-785-3547 if you know different. If I've missed anything, I want to know about it. Last Dollar says, good evening, and sorry, bad service. No problem. Been there, done that. We're right there with you, pal. You'll get more just watching the show anyway. Not a problem. There's always next time. So, aside from the obvious, guys, why do you think more truckers don't respond? Do you think it's just one of those, oh, well, they're not going to do anything? Because I'll be honest with you. I had a viewer, and if you're watching the show now, you know who you are. But I had a viewer comment on one of my videos, said he'd been in the industry over 30 years and felt like there's no use. Why bother? I mean,
Okay,
come on,
so
really? Is that
you gotta
really the way to get it done?
you gotta at least try.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like I said, it goes back to what Don and I just said. We didn't know anything about it.
True.
And maybe out of that 3 million drivers or whatever there are, maybe they work for a mega carrier too. But still, that doesn't mean that they can't leave out the owner operators. They don't advertise it enough.
No, they don't. They don't. I mean, honestly, when you really think about it, I mean, I think one of the biggest problems is the story I just got done talking about, the first story. Forget the fraud that I talked about, but it highlighted and opened up a massive wormhole on a really major problem we have, and that is the lack of training. If we had a way of communicating with these people, other than these videos that I'm making, which Lord only knows if they're seeing them or not. Lord only knows if they even watch social media at all, meaning the lawmakers, meaning people like Sean Duffy and all them. I don't know if they watch these videos, but we really do need to tackle the issue of being undertrained. Let's get rid of these people, and we're tackling a couple issues coming up, so I'm not going to jump over my skis here. But the undertrained is the biggest problem I see. When you hand somebody a CDL that didn't rightfully earn it, you're killing people. And that's, to me, I think the most important thing to handle. So, I mean, I got nothing more to add to this. I mean, obviously, there is a lot we can do. But how the hell are we able to communicate that with the federal government if they're not opening this comment period up, not just long enough? Oh, great, they're giving us 45 days. But to Don's credit, where the hell are we supposed to learn about this? When you put it in some inconspicuous periodical that maybe 0.5% of the industry ever sees, we're supposed to know about this? What happened to, I want to use mainstream media for everything. What happened to putting CNN on blast, MSNBC, Fox News? It doesn't have to be partisan. It doesn't have to be left-leaning or right-leaning. Just say, hey, look, you want to change trucking? Go put a comment in. Here's the address. Be done with it. Takes 10 seconds. Next story. I don't see that being done.
Right.
Come on, Sean, Donald. It don't take a Harvard graduate to figure this out, my friends. Just saying. Anyway. Yeah, I branded that saying. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move a little bit early into the next segment because I got a little bit of a personal take on this. So let's take a minute to think about what we've got going on, move into the next segment, and really tackle the issue of making trucking great again. Trucking news and insights on the industry. Do you trust network news? Many of you have opinions.
But I don't like speed limiters.
While they deliver the headlines, we deliver the truth.
I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one.
Truckin City Media gives you a studio line and a voice.
I truly think that if the DOT and the FMCSA actually did what they were supposed to do.
The story comes from the drivers.
The golden age of America begins right now.
Truckers deliver America.
I think trucking is a very good career.
Journalism today is a lost art.
We're all biased, right? We just wear our bias on our sleeve.
Corporate anchors deliver opinions. Truckers deliver America.
The world meets nobody halfway.
And the revolution of common sense.
TruckinCityMedia.com to make trucking great again.
We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
We will drill, baby, drill.
Trucking Frontlines, the heavy metal of hard facts. Amen to that, my friends. 860-785-3547. Call us on that studio line if you would like to make a difference. Executing assigned host duties with precision. This is Boss Man. Let me remind you guys, we have been talking about 2 freight-sized truth bombs. That's what I call them. But don't worry, we're just shifting into overdrive here. We just got done talking about the faith in the system. That's what the last thing was. Their failure to notify us when we want to make a difference in trucking. We've also talked about a bribery scandal that we really wanted to make sure you guys were aware of. Let's uncover some more reasons why there's a bunch of untrained people in this industry. Because really, when it comes down to it, the best way to make trucking great again is to find out what it is that makes trucking what it is. And recently, I've come to figure out it's more than just what we do. It's what they do. It's about where they're putting their energy, okay? While you and I are screaming at the top of our lungs for updates to hours of service, training reform, truck parking, broker accountability, freight fraud, and several other things, the bureaucrats have apparently zeroed in on one thing. They're starting with English proficiency. Yep. That's the latest red light in Washington, and that's the hill some of them want to die on. Great. I have no problem with that because honestly, it goes a large part to safety. And everywhere you look on the internet, you find people talking about this very issue. You got Bonehead Truckers, you got Truckin Resources, you've got Mutha-Trucker News, you've got myself, and countless others in the industry that feel real strongly about the fact that we need more accountability to an early law that was waived and reduced to nothing but sand back in 2016. Now, we can sit here all day long and point fingers. This one said that. This one did that. What does it do? Nothing. But here lately, a lot of people have actually started paying attention to it. And really, it comes down to one thing. It's about safety. All right? It's not more overreach. It's not another layer of regulation. It's really safety. It's a logical, common sense thing to do. Now, while we're on the topic of regulatory focus and common sense, it's essential to consider the broader landscape. This emphasis on English proficiency, while important, okay, might be overshadowing even more pressing issues that directly impact the livelihoods of us truckers. According to a recent article by FreightWaves, there's a growing concern about the misuse of B-1 visas. I know some of you are like, oh God, here we go again. Allowing foreign drivers to operate within the U.S. illegally. Some of you say it's not a problem. Some of you say it is. This practice not only violates cabotage laws, but also undercuts American drivers by offering services at significantly lower rates. No one in this industry can say it's not a problem. No one in this industry can deny it's there. Just like English proficiency wasn't a problem until it was, same thing here. Some stakeholders argue that such practices are detrimental to U.S. trucking industry holders, leading to decreased wages and job opportunities. Interestingly, someone that I didn't expect to take hold and have an issue is the ATA. And they've recently acknowledged this issue, urging federal agencies to enforce existing laws more stringently. And there's someone that really decided to opine on this. And I'd like you to hear what they have to say. As soon as I can find the spot where I can play this. Listen to what was said.
Email asking me, Alex, what really broke the camel's back? Why is everybody caring about English proficiency now when no one ever did? And they care more about it now because it's starting to hurt the pockets of the big players. All the big mega carriers are starting to get hit hard. They nominated Derek Bars to be the new lead of the head of the FMCSA. The ATA wrote a letter to Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duff. He's going to be pushing the narrative of the ATA. If you don't agree with those things, that's the uphill battle that we have to fight against. I believe that the big push on the narrative of enforcing English proficiency is because of this letter that they sent on April 10th, 2025.
So we got to ask, this letter and the efforts that they're making, do you guys think it's sufficient? Or do you think it's just merely a response to mounting pressure from people like you and me? Or voices like Alex Mai, like DIY Semi, like Bonehead Truckers? Just one of many people that I've seen recently address the issue of safety in trucking, English proficiency, and other issues that have been ignored up to now. Put in the comments what you think. Let's visit and see what the panelists think. As soon as I get everybody where they need to be. Welcome to the show, Fate. I'm glad you could join us. Boom, you are with us. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Great. I'm glad you could join us.
How about you?
Good, good. What up, Thumper?
Oh, not much. What are you up to, buddy?
Just sitting here with my Zero Breeze, trying to air out. Took my pants off.
Oh, they need to know that.
I was going to say, that's an image I can't unsee, and neither can the viewers. I appreciate you letting us know that.
A little bit of swamp down there, huh?
Yes, yes. I'm down here in North Carolina. It's a little bit warm.
Well, it's 57 degrees over here in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Oh, I wish I was there fishing. That's fishing weather.
Hey, I actually did that today. I got the boat hooked. I got the new boat hooked up to the pickup.
Nice.
Heading back to Bismarck. So.
Nice.
But.
Never heard about it. I'm supposing that, Poet, you're probably referring to the last story we talked about with the comment period. Doesn't surprise me. You Canadians never hear about that. But I appreciate you commenting and telling us that. Fate, you joined us late in the show. I'd be happy to give you a word or two on your thoughts on the English proficiency and what do you think? Do you think they're doing enough? Do you think they're in the right direction? What do you think about safety when it comes to that topic of discussion?
So it's probably once again unpopular vote from, or you know what I mean, unpopular.
Sometimes
opinion,
you say
I
that
guess.
and you're not, but continue.
Listen, yes, it's important, right? Like English proficiency shouldn't even be a question, and the reality is, it's already a law. It's a law that was basically ignored and told to ignore, that hopefully they're going to start enforcing. But
Yes.
that's not the problem. And this is going to, like I said, this is where the unpopular opinion comes in. You have to look at why it happened, right? There had to be talk higher than we can go to, hey, you gotta not enforce this rule. Why? Businesses are always looking to cut costs. The number one cost that businesses have is payroll.
Labor.
You know what I mean? And if you can take an inexperienced driver and get rid of an experienced driver, you immediately are saving money. These big companies don't want this to happen. They might give it screen time and say, yeah, we need to change this and that. But it's just like what we're witnessing in the executive branch right now.
Well, part of the problem I see going on, and tell me you disagree with this. Part of the problem I see going on is that there's so many people with differing opinions about how to approach that very thing you're talking about, Faye, that there are some people that wind up virtually going broke and working for free. I get you want to save money, and I get that you want to make wages competitive. But when you do it at the expense of everyone else, I have a problem with that.
It's not even making wages competitive. It's destroying the wages.
Well, I wasn't saying one way or the other, but I'm saying the end result is that's what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to make a competitive wage for whether you're trying to up it or down it. Either way, I mean, there's both sides to that argument. So, either way, you're affecting things in a way that you really can't determine what's going to happen. And if you want to lean on the downside and paying people, I mean, what I said earlier is what happens, and that's what I'm afraid of.
What I'm getting at is the big corporations. We're a small piece of this puzzle.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? The smaller trucking companies, guys like Thumper, stuff like that. Like, we're a piece of the puzzle, but we're such a small piece that we don't have the money to pay lobbyists. And that's the problem. And like I said, if you look at the, there's so much that you have to read between the lines. And the reason I brought up the executive branch in this is not an attack on an individual, but it's the verbiage that's being said. 6 months ago, China is going to be paying the tariffs. Did you read what the president asked Walmart to do? To eat the costs of the tariffs, right?
Wasn't just Walmart. He expected everybody else to do it too.
These are huge corporations that aren't going to do that. They can't do that. And if we have such a business orientated guy supposedly running our country, his businesses don't even do that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
You know what? I get where you're going, and I kind of agree with what you're saying, but it seems to be his style. He does things like that, and he doesn't really care. He goes to one extreme. He knows before he even does it what the result's going to be. I mean, just the way he doesn't.
Does it. That's the problem. He doesn't know what the result's going to be, and that's the problem that we face even in trucking. No, he doesn't.
I think in the back of his mind, he does know, but sometimes.
Okay. So let's say that's true. Then you're calling him a liar. Think about that for a minute.
I'm not saying he does that way every time. No. I'm not calling nobody a liar. All I'm saying is he's brazen, he's bold, and he's something. No one knows what to expect from him, and that's his weapon.
But it's not to the detrimental of you, me, and everybody else.
There's no denying you're right. Yeah. It's definitely not cool, and it doesn't help anyone. I get that. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that's what we got to deal with.
But what I'm saying is, on one hand you have that. On the other hand, you have, 10 years ago, somebody sitting in the office that said, ignore this rule. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, these people are bought and paid for. Yeah. And they're not bought and paid for by people like you and me, because we don't have the money.
If we sound like we're dogging on Trump, We kind of are, but
no,
he's not the only one. He's not the only one. This happened back 10 years ago, as you just pointed out. So he's not the only one.
I'm not dogging. Like, I'm just trying to. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us these days walk
Yep.
around and regurgitate the things we might see or hear somebody say on the mainstream media without really looking at, listen, like, this is a problem, just like the English speaking proficiency. That's a problem. Well, it never had to become a problem. It was a law that it should never have been taken off the books or told not to enforce.
Right. No,
So,
it shouldn't have been. Yeah, shouldn't have been affected at all.
You know, it's trucking's in a downturn, and it's in a very bad downturn. This industry has changed so much from when I started back in '99.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
I don't even recognize it. And I'm not trying to be.
Side question: are you anywhere near Greensboro?
I am.
Okay, I'm at a TA off of 40. Are you near me?
I am. I'm
You're
down
probably
the road.
sitting somewhere in the freaking parking lot.
He's a couple of rows from you.
Yeah, probably.
No,
he's done that before too. He stuck up on me, and I didn't see him. Anyway, I was just curious.
I'm down the road from you.
Okay, cool deal. One other question. Well, before I get to the question, Don, what do you think? You've been awful silent.
Oh, I'm just biding my time.
Dude, you got to have an opinion. Let's have it.
I've got more than one, but the ATA is the biggest criminal element in all of trucking.
They're
bought and paid for by the megas.
All of those. Whether you're talking about the OIDA, ATA, CTA, several state agencies, they're all fighting for organizations bigger than the individual trucker. And a lot of people misunderstand. They think, well, the California Trucking Association fights for me. I live in California. Bullshit. They don't. They don't fight for you at all. They fight for the companies that pay their dues and, that pay their way. Same thing with ATA and all that. So, yeah, these big organizations, they don't care about people like you and me. They don't. Never will.
So as far as getting the word out, for the open comments, like I said before, they'll hide it if they can, which obviously they did a very good job at it this time around, but the ATA's sinking so much money into certain individuals' pockets in Washington that it's ridiculous. So,
yeah. Oh, there's another outfit, another organization I'm gonna touch on with my last story of the show. So, yeah, it's not a strange thing. Trust me. I've said for years we need more people fighting for us because we so far see everybody fighting for the mega carriers. Because we as individuals don't do well by ourselves. We get by, we survive, we do what we got to do. But if we want our voices heard, we can't go to the ATA because they don't represent us. We don't pay them. I'm not going to pay them. All the aforementioned memberships, they're not going to do anything for us. I can think of one outfit, American Truckers United. They're not going to fight for one individual, one case. They've got way too much going on already. I doubt seriously they're going to fight for a small, because I don't know enough about them, so I doubt seriously they're going to fight for small guy issues. Thumper, what do you think? You've been awful silent on this.
You want my honest opinion?
I wouldn't have you on the show otherwise, dummy.
Well,
picking on you.
It's only going to get worse, and the ones that can survive through the worst are the ones who are going to make it, and that's for the small companies. That's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to get. It's going to come down to people are going to start getting weeded out. and the ones that can figure out the way to keep their business afloat are the ones who are going to survive. It's going to be a struggle for the next few years.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but it's twice the reason why you, as a viewer, need to subscribe to my channel. We do need people speaking for us. And when I see issues and I read news stories, and trust me, I do this every day, and they piss me off, I say something. So if you haven't already, become a subscriber. We mean business here on the front lines. And if they ain't going to speak for us, hell with it. I'm gonna.
The United States of Trucking, you're the president. You should be our voice and go to Washington for us.
Should be, shouldn't it? I'm a slacker. What do you got to say? All right. So what would you say is the biggest policy failure right now affecting everyday truckers, aside from what we just got done talking about? What say you? Policy failure. I mean, the biggest one I think we're in the middle of trying to fix right there is the English proficiency problem. That kind of makes a difference, but it still doesn't completely change a whole lot. So,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yes.
You're not going to like it.
Uh-oh. I never do. I'm joking. What? Come on.
Okay. You're talking about something that was put on the burner, I guess, 10 years ago.
Exempted, yes.
The English proficiency thing, right?
Right.
So drivers like this that we see on Bonehead Truckers right now, which I'll be honest, is not a channel that I used to watch. Lately, it's a channel I've been watching. I think he's doing an absolutely great job.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Along with you. I'm not trying to steer people a different way, but the biggest policy, like you just made a comment, somebody knows what they're doing. The biggest policy problem that we have in trucking right now is how dangerous of an economy we are in, because we have somebody that just flies off the cuff and says the most ridiculous things. It's affecting the supply chain. It's affecting businesses from deciding, should we buy a bunch of inventory now and sit on it, or should we wait because nobody knows what's going to happen? We've dealt with these non-English speaking truckers for over 10 years.
Right.
Like, it's not a new problem.
I thought you knew enough about me. I'm not bothered that you're pointing out obvious things with truck. By the way, Trump.
This isn't just Trump. I'm not ripping. I know it's going to come across like that.
No. But I just wanted to clarify. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Okay. When you, as an individual representing not only an industry but a country, do things and don't think it through, it does have repercussions. And what you said is true. We're living that result right now. And the more often that happens, and Trump's not the only one, okay? There are other people in the government and in our industry that do the same damn thing. So it's not just him, but he's probably the one that's most public about it, But you make a good point. You make a valid point. BS Express. Welcome to the show, my friend. Always got a BS on. I can't read the tagline. All right. You can unmute yourself and talk. I don't care. We welcome everybody to the show. What's your thoughts?
Not much. I may be in and out of sick, so.
Yeah. Speak up, boy. You're kind of hard to hear. Kind of far away from the microphone. Or maybe that's me. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. Better than Verizon. What say you on this whole thing?
I just come in here. What do we catch me up?
Talked about a lot. Yeah, you coming in kind of late. We talked about a landline article talking about how many truckers did not get notified about the comment period and therefore did not comment on ways to help make trucking great again. Talked about a scandal in Washington State where people just walked away with licenses after bribing inspectors. And just now highlighted pièce de résistance with the story Mutha-Trucker highlighted on his channel about English proficiency and ATA's involvement in trying to get that law taken care of, and also involving
But
B1
that
visa
law
holders.
has been in existence for years, and we're just now doing something about it.
Yeah. Well, no, we're kind of highlighting it, but as Fate was just saying, it was exempted, but it's
It was
only part.
exempted. Okay, let's go ahead and throw this out there. It was exempted by president to bring immigrants in. They gave them license, gave them the money to operate on for a year, and bought them a truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was exempted then.
Well, true.
Absolutely.
When they started that program.
Exactly what I stated before. Why was it done?
It was done on a false narrative to say that we needed drivers when we really didn't need to.
Not only that, it's market manipulation. That's exactly what it is.
Down. It was to run trucking down.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you.
So it was to put more competition on the little guy. That they're not worried about the big guys. They're going to stay. They're going to be here for a while. But the little companies, if you've noticed, there's very far in between outside of what I do in other trucking industries, other than in ag. The little guy's gone.
Yep.
If he's still there, he's leased on through somebody else. He's not by single company by himself anymore.
Yeah, the days of high numbers of people with their own authority and their own that's far and few between these days.
But
I agree with
you can't get numbers without, or you can't get work without numbers. They want to hire somebody that's got 100 trucks under their dispatch, not somebody that
I think.
one.
Well, not only that, but I think the leading problem is expense. When you think about it, I mean, you're investing thousands a month in insurance. You're investing, and all of this just to get your numbers, just to get started. And if you don't have a business plan right underneath your butt, you're really working. You're working backwards.
To start out, hang on a minute, Ryan. Hang on. It takes $10,000 to start your own business.
Mm-hmm.
There's businesses that have been in business for 40 plus years losing.
Mm-hmm.
That have lost good people and put them back out into the workforce for what reasons? Other than the government created the mess, and now the government wants to sit there and go, oh my God, we didn't know.
Yeah, right.
Like it's a drama queen. I'm sorry. What are you going to do if you can't get the word out to truck drivers to come in and state? They're just going to go change the rules anyway to make it so you can't say anything.
Yeah.
No matter how you want to look at it.
So our insurance and all that, Dollar, do you think it would be as high as it is now if they wouldn't have had that program in place 10 years ago?
I believe, my belief, and this is my belief truly, I believe that our insurance wouldn't be high if there was no such thing. If they never let anybody be self-insured. If they would have kept small companies and kept small companies busy. But that's not what America's about. America's about big business, and they don't care about the little guy. Because the little guy can't help big business.
Imagine everything that we're talking about making an actual difference or being understood by lawmakers if we'd heard about the comment period I mentioned in the second story. Just think about this. We've talked about, just in the last 10 minutes, we've talked about so many different issues that honestly, if they knew about it,
okay, let's say they did. Let's say they listened.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to. That's the problem.
And why do you think?
What I'm saying.
Our voice, as we sit here and we're talking about the government. Now, I kind of wish like where I stand is in less government. Individuals doing what individuals want to do within society's laws. Put it that way. Right. We shouldn't be relying on a government to make it have it set up to where we either win or fail. That shouldn't be the government's job. That's what the government's doing. 100%. They saturated a market. They changed the rules of the game. Now, as an ex-athlete, I believe that everybody should fall and play under the same game, and the winners win and the losers lose. Plain and simple. That's
okay. Let's take this back. Go clear back to 1990 when Warner started out with their ELD. Should they have been able to give it a chance to do something to correct that? I don't believe so. I should have believed they should have been allowed to fail, but the government didn't allow them.
I think you're talking about an era that I personally don't know about that because I started in 2012, so I can't speak for that. I didn't know that Warner started back that early. Damn.
Oh yeah, they were on the verge of bankruptcy when the federal government walked in and stated, "Your DOT is so bad that you need to fix it." 1 year to the day, they went to a multi-million-dollar by the federal government.
Okay. Well, that
but
makes
now
sense.
you, as an individual, Don as an individual, F8 as an individual, BS as an individual, and Thumper all as an individual, when your DOT number gets that bad, the government don't give you a chance. They just jerk it. You're done.
Yep.
So why did they give them a chance?
Mm-hmm.
That's because he had money in his pocket.
Well, now think about this, though. Is what you just described kind of necessary when you think about it?
No.
Because it kind of goes to a problem we're having today. You know, as quickly as they clean up the debris off the roadway from some of these accidents some of these guys are having, they're going down the road, they're getting another job, and they're right behind the wheel a day or two later.
Well, you know, mega companies have a belief.
Listen to what, sorry, is it Last Dollar? Listen to what Last Dollar just asked you, Steve, because he's asking a very good question. And the way he prefaced it was by saying the federal government bailed out this big corporation, right?
Right.
Because that corporation, was a big corporation. That's what America is. America is big corporations. It's not small business, no matter what anybody tells you. It's not. Because they will bail out just like the car makers. Just like
the banks.
Let's change that a little bit. Let's look at it back in the 1960s, because in the back to I wasn't either. But in the 80s, in the 70s, yeah, I know Don was, but we ain't worried about that.
That's what he was trying to get you not to say. All right, keep going.
But if you look back then, Mom stayed at home with the kids. Dad worked a full-time job. Dad was even a truck driver. They had 2 vehicles. They had a nice house, and they paid to go send their kids to college.
Yep.
What changed? Everybody believed big business is the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, not only that.
Go ahead.
Consumer buying changed it. Like, we're all truckers here, right? We're all guys, girls trying to make it, right? Like, at least I know I am.
I'm a steering wheel holder.
If my research, I'm sorry, I didn't even hear what he said, but
I said I'm a steering wheel holder.
But no, we're all trying to provide for my family, just like Last Dollar said. Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say, if memory serves me correctly, in the late 80s, early 90s, I think 2 administrations, specifically the Bush administration and the Clinton administration, were pushing for what they thought was going to revise industry in America, not just trucking, but industry in America. And what they soon wound up with, Bush started it, Clinton finished it, was NAFTA. NAFTA, I think, is what completely screwed the pooch in everything we're talking about right now. Because ever since then, the point you just made, Fate, is consumers have been so habitually trained to look for dollar deals, bargain basement deals, discount stores, whatever. Because all our manufacturing got sent overseas, cheap labor was the way to go, and NAFTA was the thing that sealed the deal.
Well, let's look at it this way.
You don't want to hear what I call NAFTA.
Let's look back at Don. Let's look back at you, Steve, or Boss Man. You know, let's look at this. When you were a young guy and you seen a truck driver, everybody respected that driver.
That's right.
Why? Because everybody knew where their groceries come from.
Yep.
Right.
Part
then,
part of that though is because that trucker was picking up the milk, the beef, whatever was going to that store from the local dairy, from the local farmer.
Hold on, hold on.
You know how I used to see it?
You're jumping ship here, because
you know how I used to see it?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, the way I used to see it may be what you're trying to get at, Dollar, and that's the way I used to see it when I was growing up. Was I seen more of the local delivery guys, the milk guys, the grocery guys, the farmers, the ag guys. I seen more of them than I did the truckers. Today you see, truck stops are full of them. They're 10, 15 deep on interstates. They're all over the place. It's a totally different environment today. So maybe that's what you were talking about, but that's kind of the difference. That's when I was raised. I didn't really see that much of truckers. I knew about them. I respected them, but
when people found out how much truck drivers were, they started flooding the industry. That's the issue.
Yep.
Not necessarily.
Can I add this? So
go ahead, man.
I am a third generation. My dad made the same amount a year hauling cows in the late 70s, early 80s as I do now. Y'all think about that.
Wow. Okay.
Well, think about this. Where you're picking up that cattle is not like, I really want to watch my words because I almost threw out a number that I'm sure is false. But the agricultural industry in this country is not owned by the American farmer. It is owned by overseas companies.
Wait.
Hold on.
I'm gonna have to correct you on this.
It's 100. China owns
where we sell our crops to, and where we sell our beef to, is going overseas. Always has.
No, but what I'm saying is those companies nowadays, China owns like 92% of chicken farms in America. They own like 83% of hog farms in America.
Okay,
the farmers don't own the chickens. The farmers don't.
Wait, hold on. Back up.
Where are you
Hold
getting
right
your
there.
numbers from? So
all you got to do is Google it.
So
a lot of the numbers,
is more by foreign countries than pork.
A lot of the numbers change. Okay, so don't even pay attention to the numbers. The point he makes is a valid one. Outside foreign entities own so much of our companies, whether you're talking about ag, you're talking about dairy, you're talking about manufacturing, electronics, raw materials. They own what they own, and we've done it to ourselves.
Right. Well, let's back up.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing.
Have to have us.
You think like we think American-based companies, right? Like Smithfield's in Minnesota, right? Mm-hmm. Like you look at Smithfield as an American company. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's owned by China. Mm-hmm. The company is not an American company. So like you talk about sending the beef and stuff overseas, I'm not saying what I'm saying is the stuff that's owned here that gets shipped is already owned by that company. They're not paying astronomical. They're paying less per pound than we are. And it's in our farmers' fields because they own it. The government of these other countries owns that meat. Well, and the meat that doesn't like the meat that they won't feed their people is what we get. Like that's
why you support local butchers.
Absolutely.
You know, but I was going someplace with my point here, and I was told this story years ago by a guy I worked for. Mm-hmm. He has relation that they've always lived in a city, never been to the country, never knew anything about the country. Mm-hmm. You ask them where their meat come from, The grocery store. Where did the fruits and vegetables come? The grocery store. Well, how did it get there? Oh, they just went in the back and got it. Wait. You don't realize that they don't butcher anything, they don't make the milk in the back or nothing? They didn't even know milk come from cows.
Yep, be surprised what people know about that.
That's the world nowadays. There is no common sense.
But here the valid thing that I'm trying to say is not only in our industry, but in farming alone, let alone farming, whether you're a grain farmer or you raise cattle or whatnot.
Yep.
The from what you do to the American public doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't get to them because it's cheaper to keep them out of the loop than in the loop.
Well, it's also federally it's subsidized. Farming is a subsidized business.
But did you know that the
they're not
farmers
in control? They're not in control of, like, if prices of stuff go up, the farmer that put in all that work for that cattle to get the milk, to pasteurize the milk, to do all that stuff, doesn't get to gain in the profit of the increase of the prices because it's set. Just like your soybeans, just like all your grains. That's why you'll see people going to grain elevators at certain times because it might have gone up 5 cents. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
okay.
I'm going to move on to a comment. I'm going to move on to a comment real quick because I got one more story I want to cover, and I got somebody calling in on the phone. So we will come back to this. I'm not going to just cut it off, but I don't want to get to a point where I forget about everything and run late. Griff says your political class sold us out years ago. I guess that's more to the point you were making there, Dollar, about and Fate too. In terms of being sold out, we got somebody on the phone who probably knows a lot about getting sold out. What say you, Poet?
When it comes to NAFTA, Don, I agree to a large extent. Only because it actually benefited Canada, but it also benefited the USA and Mexico.
Yeah, but the larger part we were talking about is the bigger corporations that benefited. Because really, country to country, it really didn't do anything for the countries. It just, it gave big business all the power.
Well, you know what NAFTA really did? And sorry.
And right now.
Hold on, Poet. Hold on real quick, Poet. Go ahead, Fate.
The biggest thing that NAFTA did for businesses was remove tariffs. That was the biggest thing NAFTA did.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't.
Every country that was part of NAFTA lowered the tariffs on. It was supposed to be a free trade.
Are you talking about
no
the
tariffs.
NAFTA drawn up in '92, or are you talking about UMCA?
No, that's what we're under now, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're under now.
NAFTA I don't think set up
with
tariffs.
Mexico and Canada.
No, it didn't. It didn't do anything. It set them up, I think.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Man, it did.
Did it? Okay.
Because
hey, I'm not perfect.
It eliminated tariffs.
Hear me out, Fate.
Quickly.
The dairy tariffs against Wisconsin and other dairy states was somewhere in the range of 312%.
Was this before or after NAFTA?
No, during NAFTA. After NAFTA got approved.
Okay, all right. That I did not know about.
And those were the tariffs that were put in place by Canada. So, yes, Fate has a valid point. But
well, good for him.
The tariffs were not removed.
Look, I don't claim to be I don't claim to be a professor of tariffs and all that kind of stuff. Numbers, I don't know. If it affects trucking, that I know about. So, but I appreciate you coming to Fate's defense.
It does affect trucking because
Yes, it does.
if I want to buy a couple of pounds of peas made in Wisconsin, I got to pay 312 or 313% in a tariff.
Yep. Well, my friend, I want to move on to my last story of the night. So I appreciate you coming in and giving us a call. And
You betcha. Have a good night, y'all. Be
God,
safe.
God bless you up in the north. Keep it rolling, my friends.
Go Maple Leafs.
I'm gonna jump off, boss man. I'm gonna lose service as I go down this hill.
I hear you, my friend. Well, I appreciate.
Hey man, it's always nice hearing you.
Yes, it is. So
I'll be back if I can.
All right, not a problem. The rest of you want to stick around for the last segment? I really hope you do. Let's get to it. All righty, and the last thing I'm going to do is put up the right screen. There we go. Speaking of the devil himself, no, Ike Stevens is no devil. Well, let's shift gears here and talk about the heart of Texas, which apparently he lives in, as do other people. And what he's dealing with is a video he just put out talking about lawmakers advancing House Bill 4402, a proposal that would require a human operator to be physically present in any commercial vehicle operated autonomously with the autonomous system. Now, it comes on the heels of Aurora's innovation announcement of full driverless trucks being on the road between Dallas and Houston. A lot of people have taken issue with that. Even Ike himself. He put out a video recently and had this to say. I'm a little slow on the switch, so bear with me. Hold on a minute. Well, I can't find it now. I had it before the show. The bill garnered support from various stakeholders, including the Teamsters, who argue that such legislation I got you. Who argued that such legislation was necessary to ensure safety. Critics of driverless technology point out that while automation, say that 5 times fast, I dare you, promises efficiency, it also raises concerns, and we've all seen that. But it comes with a little bit of grief. The Teamsters have come out against people coming against that. So let's talk about it. I mean, I feel personally not a big deal. There are others that feel differently. I had something different planned, but let's bring some different perspectives into this, because I personally don't feel bothered by automation. There are those that do. So what say you, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think putting driverless trucks on the road without people behind the wheel, do you think that's a problem? What do you guys think?
You could go take that language elsewhere. I'm not gonna go risk my life being on the road with a vehicle driving down the road by itself.
Well, see, the reason I bring it up is because I put a short up on my channel the other day. And what I did was I captured one part of what was said. Because Bonehead Truckers made a comment trying to make everyone aware of the fact that, this stuff was going on. And the comment he made was, we might have to take a little bit of pay cut, but at least we'll have a job. And
Screw that.
I feel like
I'm sorry. Like I just
yeah.
said, I'm not going to trust it. We've had this argument before. I am not
Well-
going to trust something going down the road where, yes, it could be programmed if a case of emergency or whatever, but computers have issues. You should
They
know from
always do.
firsthand. You should know from firsthand,
Right.
boss man. Look how much technical issues you have.
Well,
Then if
number
it
one, number
loses-
two,
if
my side of this argument is look at airline pilots. Airline pilots have two responsibilities: taking off and landing. Other than that, they rely on automation. The same way these companies like Aurora, Too Simple, and all are trying to do with these. Now,
Okay.
bold step they're making. They're putting these trucks on the road with no one, nothing.
So
Okay.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna go to your airplane theory here.
Okay.
Well, not really theory. I mean, it does happen. But look how many plane crashes there were last year. Because
That's not the
their
direction I was going in, but
their
yeah.
instruments didn't catch what they were supposed to. Now, what says that isn't going to happen in a truck? You're going to have an 80,000 pound machine barreling down the road, and all of a sudden it has a malfunction, and it's just going to keep going. I don't care what you say; it's either going to keep going, or the brakes are going to lock up, and it's going to cause an accident. It is the stupidest fucking thing out there.
Well, here's my thing, and here's where I was going with it, okay? Because, I mean, number one, I have no problem with automation. Because, hell, we're driving trucks today with automation in them already. You've got automatic lock brakes, you've got, lane departure. It's already here. You can't avoid it, So, okay, I'll deal with it, no problem. But because you're making technology that helps improve the quality of my life and make my job safer, why am I supposed to take a pay cut?
Well, I can answer that.
Go ahead.
What's the guy's name? Howard Lugnick? What's his title? Somebody Google him real quick. I think he's like the secretary of like the commission's office or something. He stated not that long ago that we're all just going to be factory workers. We're going to be factory workers. Our kids are going to be factory workers, and our grandchildren are going to be factory workers.
The government determining what we're going to do in our lives.
Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening.
We Americans are not fucking free anymore. I'm sorry, I'm getting irritated now.
Well, no,
You
let's
guys,
think about
you
what he's
wanna
saying, though.
beat-
But,
you wanna beat
there's
around
truth
the-
to what you're saying.
Would you
There
like
you-
me
you
to
wanna-
send you some literature on how to become a libertarian?
There's some truth. Seriously, though, there's some truth to what you're saying. But there are just enough people fighting back on it. Because you know what? Airline pilots make damn good money. So if you want to pay me the same as, airline pilots, hell, I'll drive your driverless truck. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's my thing. What you're talking about, fate, isn't going to happen in my lifetime. I don't think. It's not going to happen while I'm driving truck anyway. It's down the road a ways. It's coming. Yeah, just like you've said in previous shows, we can't avoid it. But I'm not worried about it coming up and sneaking up on me right now. I'm not worried.
I bet you by the time they mass now, I'm just throwing a theory out there. Don't say that I'm for this because I am so against this shit. But I guarantee you, we will be depleted out of oil and everything else before they master that stupid shit.
I thought you were going to say that cow. I thought you were going to say that.
There's a lot of oil underneath it.
I thought Thumper was going to say like the cows would come with chips in their brain and they would just walk onto the cattle truck.
Dude,
no need to even get out.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be freaking awesome considering I got mowed down by a 750-pound calf the other day. So I'm pretty sore yet. I actually had to wear sweatpants for the last 3 days because jeans, I got a nice gouge on my hip.
Yeah.
Listen, people are ripping on this guy right now, but like you look at Tesla, right? Tesla kind of has autopilot in some of their cars. I know GM does. for like backing and stuff like that. We're not even at the point for like not like cars just driving around by themselves, and we're gonna put semis on the highway. Like,
I want to point something out. If you
that blows
remember,
my mind.
if you remember a few years ago, Toyota had a major crisis with their Priuses, which it couldn't happen to a better vehicle. Their throttles were sticking, and they would drive. They couldn't stop the vehicle. Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
I
That's
remember the
happening
one
in the Cybertruck right now. The Cybertruck
Well, I
is being
remember-
recalled because that's
Yeah, I
happening in the
remember
Cybertruck.
one. I want to say it was somewhere between Dallas and Houston. I don't know, but it was one. It was under test. There was 2 people in it, and damn thing just boom right into the Jersey wall.
Yeah.
And you could see the driver activate the system.
So
And
what says this stuff isn't going to happen in a semi? No, fuck that. Scrap the idea. Actually train, mentor, whatever you want to call it, train them fucking properly to do the job. Don't just fucking give them you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go put a towel on my head and start driving around.
Oh my God, Thumper, take a breath. Take a
Yeah,
breath,
take it
brother.
easy, dude.
Take a breath.
They make Prozac for that problem,
Yeah, take a breath.
Yeah. Seriously though, I have no problem with automation, but I agree with Thumper. They need to take time. They need to train people. They need to do it right. They need to make sure it's tested. And I think we're years off from these things being legally allowed to run by themselves.
Do you know why I have a problem with this?
Why?
Because I still think trucking is a job. I raised a family of 5. My wife is a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I believe trucking is a good career for a guy that made the choices that I made in my younger years. If you take that out of our economy,
yes,
where does that put somebody like me?
Yes.
I have no other skills. This is all I know how to do. Where are you going to put somebody like me?
Where I was going with this is, I don't see automation taking over in our lifetime. I don't see it happening with any reverence real quick.
I'm so worked up.
There's a long way to go. I think there's a long way to go, and I think there's a large hill to get over before that happens. But like you, Fade, I agree. This industry is worth fighting for. So much so that second story shouldn't even been necessary, but it was. We didn't know, and we weren't told, but yet we had an opportunity and we missed it. But we need to be vigilant, and we need to be, loud about it. Let's defend this industry. Let's make sure that everything we have today, we fight for. Because like you, Fate, I think this, for me anyway, it's the only thing I know. It's what I love. And if we just bend over and give it up without a fight, that's on us.
What did I say last week? What did I say last week? We need to start being frickin' 2-year-olds and throwing tantrums.
And what did you just get done doing?
I don't know. I was so hold on. Here's the kicker of it. I'm so freaking worked up right now. I couldn't even back up a boat.
Oh my word!
But you can't back up a boat at any time. So what's the difference?
You beat me to it. That's something else.
All right, I've been quiet. Now I'm going to give you guys a shocker.
Okay,
Fate.
let's hear it.
Finally coming out of the closet.
Fate, Thumper. You guys
just
will
turned this
see.
entire show around. Sorry,
You guys will see autonomous trucks. I won't be alive to see it, thank God.
No.
But you guys will be alive to see it. Because
I'm older than
I'm
you
telling
think.
you. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I guarantee you'll be alive to see it. I won't. I have underlying health conditions. I ain't gonna be around that much longer.
No. I hate hearing that, but I'm in my 50s, so I'm not looking to work in much more than about another 15 years.
I'm here to tell you, within 15 years, the only thing any human's going to do in a truck is load them and unload them.
Well, and see, that's just the thing. These damn driverless trucks, they can manipulate the streets fine. And if they work all the safety bugs out, that's great. But backing up to the dock, opening the doors, you still need human hands on that.
They'll have yard jockeys for that.
Go ahead, Faye. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna wait for him. He was quiet. Let him finish talking.
Oh, okay. All right.
But they'll have yard jockeys for all the loading and unloading and dock bumping and chute bumping and pulling underneath the cranes to load the iron up. And, you know, other than that, it's going to be okay, bye-bye, wave to the truck as it pulls away.
Right. Or are you going to say, Faye?
So getting to what Thumper was saying about like the computers and the AI. Did you guys see what I'm going to say this wrong? Gronk, the AI software for Twitter. Did you see what it did the other day?
No,
it's self-learned.
Yeah.
It's
well,
self-learned.
I don't really? Okay.
It told on its creator, Elon. It told on him. Like,
good for him.
Google that real quick. It's self-learned. So like we're getting so sci-fi right now that like we're gonna like, what if AI just self-learns and decides, you know what? I'm not gonna follow this route that some human put in. I'm gonna take my own route in a 80,000-pound semi. Even more than that, because can't forget we got electric trucks coming too. So electric trucks, AI trucks, like this is the Jetsons. I grew up watching the Jetsons. That's what this is right now.
Yep.
And like I said, the AI is self-taught.
It's kind of getting there. It's kind of getting there. It's almost scary when you think about it, but you know what? Just like I said earlier, I'm not giving up on this industry. This industry is worth fighting for. And yeah, it may be automated to a degree in the next 15 years. But as long as I'm here and I got a truck I'm able to drive, ain't no automation for me, friend. It's straight Mac, straight road. It's engines all the way. Now, if they run out of diesel between now and then, different story. We'll talk later, but we'll revisit the issue. But right now, I'm strictly diesel. No automation for me. Thumper, what say you? We're about to wrap all this up. And the only reason really I'm wrapping it up tonight is because I got a delivery to make a little while. So,
I got to run, guys.
Yep. I need to get up with you later, so I'll chat with you on that later. But yeah, you guys hang out after the show, and we'll wrap this up. Look, when it comes to automation, rules and regulations, it's a never-ending, changing story out there. I urge you, if you're watching this show, go down below, become a subscriber, follow this channel. I'm at 991 last time I checked. I want to hit 1,000 before too long. So show me some love. Go down below, copy the link to the channel, send it to a friend, especially if you know they like trucking. And if you think they need to know a thing or two, we're here every Sunday at 7 o'clock. We're showing everybody how it's done. And what's better is we're doing it one show at a time, one news story at a time. And we're making the biggest difference one day at a time. What say you, Thumper?
I don't know.
Did I catch you off guard?
You kind of did a little bit, but because I know you're ending the show, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. We need to stand up. A lot of us need to start standing up for what we believe in, and we all need to come together and make it better. It only, even though it's only one voice, and you may not think that your voice counts in the long run, it does, because it only takes one voice to speak up to get other people behind you.
Yep.
So honestly, stick behind what you believe, to stand up for what you believe, Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that makes sense. But no, that's just it. You know, every voice counts, whether you think it does or doesn't, it does. So, I mean, on that mark, I mean, as I always say, we don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys. And I forgot one other thing. God bless everybody. EMTs, firefighters, military personnel, police department. They don't get the love like they should. So,
No, they generally don't. So
they're the ones who keep us free. They are, especially in the military. You know, freedom is not free. So I guess that's kind of all I got for tonight. I'm a little scatterbrained. I apologize.
Hey, we all have our moments. I had mine during the show, so you're entitled to yours as well, Thumper. Look, guys, whether you're talking about briberies, whether you're talking about comment periods not being broadcasted enough, drivers that are untrained, undertrained, or can't speak the language, either way, it doesn't matter what kind of story it is, you can come right here to Truckin City and you can get the latest and the greatest and get the inspiration you need, information right here. Remember, guys, it's the trucks that make the delivery. But it's you, as much as we're not automated yet, that makes the difference. Till next time, guys, keep it between the lines, keep the faith, and by all means, keep it rolling.